Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. It's Friday again, and we're doing the live stream. I'm John Townsend, and welcome to this live stream. But it's just not me here by myself. There's guys hanging out back there doing all the real work. I just have to be in front of the camera and talk. Aaron's on the console making the stream happen. Kyle is in the hot question seat over there. He's making sure he's going to find all the great questions. And Ryan.
Yeah, whatever Ryan does.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Ryan's here. Nobody knows why.
Ryan is there making sure I say all the right things. So I want to thank everyone for coming along on this live stream. And Fridays are always fun. I mean, we kind of never know what's happening, and we never know what's going to happen. So it's kind of exciting. You know, things break, things don't break. They might explode on screen. Who knows what's going to happen today in the live stream? But mostly this is about questions, your questions. So we have a lot of fun doing that. And I want to thank you guys for your great comments, your great questions that come in on the channel. We can only do this because of you. Do we have anything special that I need to talk about, Ryan?
We're gonna go into questions first. We'll come up to weird stuff later. Let's fire questions in there, guys.
We're gonna so go ahead with questions in the chat window there. I don't know. Do you have anything up and ready to go, Kyle, for us?
What made you start this YouTube channel?
What made us start the YouTube channel? I think I can remember the moment. Okay, so I've always been interested in film and in video, and we shot videos and did things before YouTube was around. In fact, I kind of had a thought about starting some kind of a YouTube-like site. Not that I did that, of course. But why we started the YouTube channel was because I was in my office doing the thing, and people in customer service on the telephones would always come over and ask me how to do X, or, you know, because customers were asking them how to do particular things, how to work with particular things that we sell. And some of them were very difficult to explain on the telephone. And it's like, boy, if I just had a 30-second video that explained this product and showed them how to do it, it would be, you know, it'd be so much simpler. So our very first video was how to use one of our fire sets. It was like a minute-long video, very, very simple. And that was how the YouTube channel started. That was about Christmas of 2008. So this is our 10th year on YouTube.
Why are the rest of the crew not wearing 18th century clothing?
You would have to ask them. Maybe because they aren't on the screen enough, so they're in the dark, and they're like mushrooms back there anyway. So maybe.
Plus, we couldn't wear cool band T-shirts to show those off.
Yeah,
so we need to be able to do that.
Promote our favorite bands.
Or a plain red one. Yeah.
There you go.
How do you cook bear meat?
You know, most of the time let's see. How do you cook bear meat?
Boiled bear meat sounds yummy, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. I think I've heard of it in stew. Mr. Delp does a bear sausage. So bear meats, I mean, I think I've had a little bit and it was good. But I think any of the standard ways, if you're really worried, do something like a stew, right? But I don't have any other answers than that.
Oh, one thing we could talk about for a second was that kind of YouTube video we did on Monday.
Yeah.
We got a lot of response to that. And the frustrating thing is that window that pops up with the 3 options for the notifications, that's not everyone is going to see that. It's very random. It all depends on what server you're on, but thanks for the response to that. It is frustrating. And
John was saying that there were a big uprising in subscribers after that too, so that was really cool.
Yeah, it's boy, you know, it is a struggle with YouTube, and you just never know exactly. Well, obviously they're testing things out on the site. Maybe not as much as we might see testing on some other kinds of sites, but they're testing, and sometimes you'll see the page kind of changes for you because they're testing different things with different people. And apparently the notification system is one of those things they're playing with right now. Let's hope they make it work even better than it's working.
I got some people asking about the stack of books behind you, John.
Oh yeah. So they aren't all here. One of the things we've been doing. So for most of the videos, I do a lot of research, reading primary source material. So looking at books and paintings and artifacts of the 18th century. You can do research about the 18th century, reading modern books talking about the 18th century, but there's nothing like going back and looking at the original books. A lot of that we do by searching electronic texts, but when I'm doing research, it's so much... I get more out of a book, and I can really pinpoint things more when I'm not reading it on the screen, but I have a printed book. So one of the things we thought we would do is actually take some of these primary source books and reprint them in a nice, simple, fairly inexpensive form for people to purchase. So a lot of these books are, especially cookbooks and travel journals, are available on our website, and there's probably a link to the website if people are interested in those books. So a lot of times, like I'll talk about the Cresswell Journal, that's one of those books, the Hannah Glass Cookbook, the Complete Housewife by Eliza Smith, and we've got 20, we're probably working on like 30 titles right now of different kinds of books, so that when we reference those in future episodes, people will be able to see the actual book.
Yeah, I got $5 from Francis. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis.
I really love your channel and what you're doing. I have learned so much from your channel alone. I'm sorry YouTube can't be more cooperative.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the donation.
Yes, thank you so
not
much.
like it's one person
Yeah.
going, I don't like that Townsend's channel. I'm going to mess up their notification. It's It's all algorithms and lines of code.
Yep. Complicated stuff.
All right. So let's talk about support sites, John.
Yeah. So we just had someone come in and donate on Super Chat, and that helps us do what we do. Doing the videos is sort of an on the side thing that we do for our business. It kind of helps it directly, and then other times not necessarily. And so we do need sort of extra help to be able to do more videos and specific videos. So people help us out. So Super Chat is one of those ways to help us out. We also have a great number of supporters on Patreon who help us with just a small amount of money each month. That's also a great help to us. Helps us kind of plan that a little bit better and helps us go on special trips, like the one we went down to Limestone, Tennessee just last weekend. That was partially supported by people who help us out on Patreon. So that's a way that people can help us out, and there's a link down in the description section. Also, the books and other items on our website are available for purchase, and that is another tremendous way to help us. One of those things, last week we had the mugs, and we sold out of those guys in about, 3-4 hours, 12 hours, whatever. We sold all the mugs. So if you wanted a mug, you're going to have to wait. If you want one, you're going to have to wait for the next batch of mugs coming up. We're going to work on some new designs for them, so we'll have some fun with these guys. Got a fun new design coming up. And what else do we have?
We've got a really special way that people can help support today.
Yeah, so today we've got a new... So in the past, we've had a few T-shirt designs. We've got a brand new T-shirt design that's available right now for pre-order. They're not in stock, but we want to order just the right amount. So they are available on the website right now, so you can pre-order them. And it's the anatomy of a Revolutionary War soldier. And so you get this Rev War soldier and then all the kinds of names of the things he's wearing. And so that should be kind of fun. So if you're interested in supporting us that way, or you really like the T-shirt, make sure to head over to the website and you can pre-order one of those T-shirts, and we will get it out as soon as that's available, probably 4 to 5 weeks, something like that.
And that link is right at the top of the description.
Top of the description. Okay.
I'd say 4 to 5 weeks is on the long side.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll get it. To
hopefully
them
we'll even
soon.
shorter than that. Okay, that'd be great.
Can I do a couple donations,
Yeah.
Kyle, or do you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so 2 donations. One from Brian Zick, $5.
Thank you, Brian.
Can you do men's breeches in smaller waist sizes?
Yeah, how small?
He says he's in the 28s.
Yeah, 28 is well within the standard size.
I've actually got a 28 in the store right now.
Yeah, so
There you go.
sure.
And then $10 from one of our favorite guests, Max or Cruel.
Ah, thank you,
$10.
Max.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just
Yeah.
says thanks for the live show.
Right.
Appreciate you.
Right, and while we're there, we just talked about Patreon and these guys, people on Super Chat. I did want to read out a couple of names from Patreon the last couple of 3 or 4 weeks. Elrude9, Pontus, Arthur Cars. I'm not exactly sure how to say that one. Rebecca Kaufman and Dennis Schultz. All of those are like new folks on Patreon, so I want to give a special thanks out to
Thanks
them.
so much, guys.
Appreciate it. Oh, there's also there's a thing on YouTube I'm going to experiment with. It's with that TubeBuddy thing.
Okay.
You can see who a patron is when they
Okay.
comment. So I need to mess around with that.
I tested that a little bit, and it seemed like it was a little confused.
Was it? Okay.
That it didn't know. Sometimes it would say they were, but they weren't.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a new feature. Might need
Yeah,
to be
it might
worked out a
need a
little
little-
bit.
Yep.
Anyway.
Is the link to that T-shirt in the description?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
at the very top.
All right, more questions. We're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so John, what do you think of the movie The Patriot? Is it accurate?
Is the Patriot Act? You know, it's been many years since I've looked at the Patriot for the accuracy, and it depends on what you're talking about on the accuracy, right? So there's accuracy of the things you're seeing on the screen, like the artifacture or the clothing, and then there's the accuracy of what people are thinking, their psychology and their philosophy, and then there's the accuracy of the events. So there's a lot of different levels of accuracy, and I think that I believe in the Patriot they're kind of taking a couple of different characters, or a couple of not characters, but actually people from history, and kind of gluing them together to make them into a good plot. And plots are tricky with movies. Man, if you want it to be an exciting movie, you have to hit all the right points. You know, it's like, well, you got to start out with this kind of story, and then bad things happen, and then good things happen. Well, history isn't like that. Reality isn't necessarily like that. So they have to twist and morph the events of history to make it into an exciting story. Sometimes. Sometimes you just got exciting history. So I would have to rewatch it for, let's say, the accuracy of the artifacture. I'm never always terribly happy with the way they portray the thoughts within certain characters, and a lot of times that's one of the most difficult things to get accurate on a movie, is what people were really thinking at the time, and are they acting like people in the 18th century would have acted.
I want to go back to Brian, who commented earlier. He said, I can't seem to find the size 28 waist on your website. You're probably going to have to either email us or call us, call customer service.
Yeah, what you can do also is choose the smallest waist size that's available on the website, and then in the comment line when you're checking out, say, oh, I actually need a 28 waist or whatever, and customer service is really good about fixing that stuff up.
Oh, we got a $20 donation from Nathaniel McDaniel.
Hey,
thank you.
Nathaniel.
Just became a patron. My wife and I love your YouTube channel. Hope to visit your store soon. Definitely.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'd love to
Thanks
see
so
it.
much.
Appreciate it. Do you want to... They're ready for the...
Is it time?
Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
time?
man.
So one of the things, one of the episodes that I'm working on for the future, it's not completely done yet, but I've got some Spruce beer here. I get probably a couple of episodes where I want to do a couple of different period Spruce beers. Spruce beer was really, really important in the 18th century and important for North America. They used it medicinally and as a light and cooling beverage in other situations. The military was very important, thought spruce beer was very important, and so it was even part of the military rations. You should be giving these guys so many quarts of spruce beer a day, and if you can't give them that, give them molasses instead, so they can make their own spruce beer. So spruce beer is important all through the 18th century. It gets to be very popular, and even the popularity of it gets more in, say, England in the early 19th century, and then other things happen in the middle of the 19th century. It kind of disappears. So it's this interesting thing that gets very, very popular and then sort of disappears later on. So I'm doing several different varieties because you'll see half a dozen or 10 different recipes for spruce beer, and they do certainly vary a lot. It's a bit like ginger beer, but I have this particular batch. I wanted to try this out. This has been brewing for what? I brewed it for about a week in its carboy or in its brewing vat, and now I've bottled this stuff up. This is not really, it hasn't been bottled quite long enough for it to really get good. Some of the spruce beers were really quick. You would make it and it would be ready to drink in 24 hours. This one is a true ale or a small beer, and it takes a good bit of time. These bottles have been primed, and hopefully it won't explode. I don't think it will. I think it's fresh, or not so much sugar that it will give us a problem. So we're gonna try this out.
Oh man,
it's okay. So everybody's like, ugh! Oh, there you go. See, it was pressurized, but not too pressurized. So let's see. They've got a bottle back there. Yeah, you do.
Oh boy!
Yours is warmer, so it might have more pressure in it. So.
I'm gonna open it right next to Aaron.
Yeah. He's gonna open it right. If the
open it
screen
right
goes
next to the
blank,
Season
it's
12 hard drive.
Let's put it right on this hard drive and open her up.
don't spray beer all over the computer. So there you go.
Or me.
Yeah. So this spruce beer is
Is it good?
Is it?
We're good.
It's open up. Okay. It's a very low alcohol, probably in the vicinity of 1%, because it just doesn't have enough sugars in it to be a high alcoholic type beer. So it's very typical for a refreshing kind of beer, a family beer, let's see, what's the word I want? I don't know. Let's try it out though. It's got some good. It's got a little mild beery, smell to it. And something special about this one. Let me test it out here.
Yeah, it turned out good.
Yeah. So I had done an earlier previous batch with following the directions precisely out of Amelia Simmons's recipe, and it's done with molasses, which is sort of the mainstay of spruce beers. That's the main sweetener that's used in that, where the sugars come from to produce the beer. But modern molasses, and maybe the molasses in the 18th century, very strong. And it's hard to get a good... a lot of the molasses that we get today are blackstrap molasses, and they are just... way too over the top. They've extracted all the sugars, and all that's left is the intense molasses flavor, and it just overwhelms a molasses beer. So I thought, what if you were in a lot of these military circumstances where they were using spruce beer is in the north part of North America, so Canada and upper New England and all that. They would have maple syrup. So I used maple syrup as a substitute in here instead of molasses, and I think that's the way to go. What do you think, guys?
It's delicious.
I like it. Yeah.
Tasty.
I like it a lot.
I think the video is gonna be kind of an intense shoot, but we'll get it.
He's worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
Aaron worries about everything. He's a worry guy.
But no, it's got some really good flavors, and some of these spruce beers used, what's really close to maple syrup? Birch syrup. Did you know that?
Birch
Ryan?
beer.
So you'll get some of those same kind of nice, overtones or undertones of flavors out of like birch syrup. I don't know if you could use sorghum. And Ryan's still shaking his head back there. And you can use some other flavors in there. Some of these spruce beer recipes would use sassafras or sarsaparilla root. So it does get a little bit closer to what we think of as a root beer, but generally those are just an additive, not the main flavor in a spruce beer.
We got any exciting questions in there, Kyle?
Yeah. Does spruce beer have alcohol in it?
Yeah, this is a brewed beer. It uses an ale yeast. There's a little bit of hops in here too for the preservation part of it. So you don't taste any hops in there, do you? So the hops is such a low level that you really don't get any hops flavor in it, which would ruin it for me because I'm not a big bitter hops.
You could make me a spruce beer IPA. That'd be great.
No way, I won't do it.
Imperial.
Yeah, and so it's a small beer. It's probably 1%. Maybe even 0.5%. I forgot to do the testing of this guy right off the bat, so I don't know exactly what its alcohol content would be. But the testing I did after it started fermenting leads me to believe it's in that 1% range.
How long does this beer, or how long can this beer be kept?
When this style, it can be kept for 6 months, a year, something like that. I wouldn't keep it for a long, long time because it doesn't have enough hops in it to really be a long-lasting beer in the bottle. But it's a good, it's a good beer for a cellared type of beer for a couple of months. The other styles, which are meant to be drunk right away, again, it's just like the ginger beer. If you kind of bottle that up, it'll just keep chewing up those sugars and getting more and more pressure, and then you open it up and it explodes everywhere. So those would need to be drunk pretty much right away.
When was the last video we did on mead? Somebody was asking if we had done mead before. They're new to the channel.
We did mead as a Q&A. I haven't actually brewed anything like a mead.
Did we use mead in the one at Locust Grove with the winery fellow?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
We talked about mead, and we also talked about apple brandy while we were there, but not in a video.
Okay.
Apple brandy is another one of those really, really interesting topics that's kind of important for Indiana and that northern Kentucky area.
That's another video we got to do.
Yeah.
Thanks for this.
Well, and going down to the Thomas Family Winery, which does the sack.
Yeah.
Which we'd really like. I need to go back and talk to them about their version of the 18th century sherry, which is called sack.
Let me do a couple donations.
Yeah.
I think I got 3 to do. Oh, here's $2 from Dynamite Stick, our good friend. He said, "Give some of the beer to Kyle. It'll help his manly voice."
Got some.
Yeah, he's got some. He's got something right there. He's getting really manly.
$10 from Christopher Francis. Thank you.
Thank you.
I made juniper rye lager a few years ago. Turned out excellent.
Yeah.
Have you had anything with juniper berries as an ingredient? And does spruce give a similar taste? And I got one more. $10 from Holly. Thank you. Do you
Holly.
know of any
Thanks, Holly.
companies that sell some of the period drinks that are pretty accurate? So the first one about the juniper berries.
Yeah, I have not done a lot with juniper berries. Is that you're smiling over there, Ryan? Do you have something to say?
I like gin a lot.
There you go.
So, and it's got a really particular taste. The spruce beer here doesn't have a whole lot of spruce coming through right now. So it's not at all nearly as strong as what the flavor of juniper berries that I've had is. But
Yeah. Well, you see, and I was experimenting with the spruce in this, using the actual methods that they talked about in the texts. So by the say 1770s and later on, spruce essence was available, commercially produced, and you could make your spruce beer with this commercially prepared spruce essence. And some of their recipes call for spruce essence, and other ones say, oh, they're pre that time period, and they would have you boil your own spruce. So this is spruce from spruce trees that grow on our property, and I may have needed to have condensed that more and boiled it up more, or had a larger vat of it. Getting that ratio of flavor to, the beer can be difficult to get to.
Do you know what the spruce essence was? Was it liquid form?
Yeah, it's a liquid form.
Yep.
Was there another question?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the period drinks.
There you go, period drinks. The only one that I know of right off the top of my hat is the sack that is available from Thomas Family Winery. They're in Indiana, southern Indiana, like Madison, I think.
Yeah, somewhere between Madison and Clarksville. I'm not sure which one.
Right, and I'm not sure if that's available online or not. Indiana's weird about.
Well, we ran into him
Yeah.
at Martin Station, and he said that he sold quite a bit from that video.
Right.
So I'm assuming it's online somewhere.
Right. So that's kind of an important, especially for cooking in the 18th century. But I don't have any other really good suggestions on other drinks that are available for purchase.
What
else
about
got it.
pollen beer? Have you ever tried pollen beer?
No, pollen beer. No, sorry. Sounds very interesting. I think I've read some about it, but
I've had dandelion beer.
yeah.
That's good.
Would these be drunk daily or just special occasions?
Spruce beer, it would be a daily kind of thing, and maybe even like a summer drink, especially these kind of, not this particular one, but the other styles that are green beers that you drink right away. Those you could make even in hot weather. So something like this, you kind of have to be sure that your ale yeast doesn't get too hot. It doesn't, ferment too quickly. Although, even in this particular Amelia Simmons recipe, she says if it's warm out, you can bottle it up in just a day or two because it'll ferment very rapidly. Don't know if it'd be very good, but
Did folks my age drink beer? I'm 16.
my age, yeah. Especially these kinds of small beers, maybe not spruce beer specifically, but other small beers, just straight small beer, which was made out of many times the second or third time the wort stuff would go through. I'm not sure what the word is I want right now, but the second or third working of the material that you would make the beer out of. When most of the sugars were used up, they would make these small beers, and they would be used as breakfast drinks and just family drinks, women, children. It's just a standard drink that people would drink as a everyday instead of water.
What was the most average storage medium for beer during the 18th century? Kegs, wood, glass?
Kegs. They would store that in wooden barrels, and then as the 18th century goes on, that stuff was sometimes kept in stoneware bottles. Although stoneware and pottery bottles, they needed to perfect the glazing and the clay techniques, or else the pressure of the beer would force it out of the bottle, right through the pores of the pottery. So that was a actual technology thing that happened right there in the 18th century, where they perfected that sort of thing.
Where do you film your cooking videos? Is it at a living history museum? Also, when can we see Ivy again?
Ivy's in the building. I almost thought about having her in here as a special guest, but she didn't have any clothes with her, so kicked her out. Get out of here.
She was
Get
wearing
out.
clothes, just not period clothes.
Not period clothing. Yes, correct. Thank
And
you,
yes,
Brian,
it's at a historic
for
site.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John's home.
Very historic.
yeah. The historic site where the cooking episodes are done. That's my house. Well, it's at my house.
It's right behind where he keeps his lawnmower.
Yeah, yeah.
Inside a very
So-
historical chicken coop.
Yeah, there's this building that we built, say, 20 years ago or so. That was a chicken house, and after after sacrificing my chickens to wild animals over and over again, I gave up on raising poultry, and I converted the chicken house to a set. The building is only, I think it's 24 by 11 on the inside. It's not very big. So it's got the kitchen set on one end, and it is a set. It's not a period house, but it's based on a period house. So if you're interested in seeing that the building that set is based upon, you can go to Stanton, Virginia for the what's it called? The
Frontier Culture Museum.
Frontier Culture Museum. Thank you, Ryan. So
In the German house.
yeah, the German house there. So.
All right. Let's talk about these super cool T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, the T-shirts. So I wish I had one, but I don't because they're only available for pre-order. We don't have any printed up yet, but the T-shirts have the anatomy of a Revolutionary War soldier on them. So they should be made out of a really nice navy blue cotton. And I haven't seen, these should be real similar to the style that we've gotten before, the shirt style itself.
Yes, sir.
So a nice men's cut shirt. It isn't, sorry, they're not women's cut shirts. And we had that design worked on. These guys back here thought that would be a fun design. So put together the anatomy of a soldier. I had to do a little tweaking. It's like, no, the cartridge box was on that side, not this side. And all those little corrections.
He came in and made it right.
Yeah, I had to
Is what he's
fix everything.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, this
anyway.
was done by a local artist in our area.
Yeah, if you want to help support the channel, the pre-orders on the T-shirts are a great way to do that. And there's a description, or there's a link to the shirt in the top of the description on this video.
All right, and one other thing I wanted to talk about was the video of the musicians that was released on Wednesday. We sold a ton of CDs.
Yeah, the Sons of Liberty boys. We've been to Martin Station for, been going to it for several different years, and the last couple of years before this year, I kept seeing these guys. I never got a chance to kind of grab a hold of them and talk to them or shoot any video with them. I think we might have a little clips of them playing, just little bits. But this year we had a chance to really grab onto them and ask them if they wanted to be in a video. They said, yes. And I was, enjoying their music. They get better every year, and it's fun to watch kids grow up at this kind of age, 14 years old. And I think one of them 16, is that? Yeah,
that's right.
16. The other two are 14. So it was great fun to interact with the parent there and the boys and shoot the video, and since they had a CD that was available, we thought, well, that'd be a perfect opportunity to connect with them and have that available. So I really enjoyed it, and I think they did a really good job on the CD. I mean, it was neat watching them play live, and I think they did a good job on their CD too. So
yeah, we brought it home, and I listened to it for probably a week while I was working. And it's really good. They did a good job with it.
Yeah, so a great set of guys, really. I mean, and they do a good job with the music, and it has been fun watching them kind of grow and get better. And I can't wait to see what happens, next year and next year. It's fun to see the progress with those kinds of guys. So they're a lot of fun.
All right, I've got one more annoying thing that I have to jump into the microphone to direct you to.
Yes.
Let's talk about how people can sign up on the email list, because that's really cool.
Yeah, so if you're interested in connecting with our website, and we do a lot of special products that kind of pop up and then disappear again because we can't get large quantities of things, so we can't make them constantly available in our catalog or even on the website for any great period of time. If you want to find out about those special things, make sure to check out the email list that's on our main website, townsends.us. There's a link, right?
If they click on the image, the main image of the website, it takes them right to the sign-up form.
There you go. So if you go to our main townsends.us site, and there's the big banner, that's, I think, me by the lake, right?
Yeah, right.
So if you click on the sailor picture right at the top, that'll take you to sign up for the email list. And we send out, 2 emails a week or something, like a main one and then just a follow-up one. So if you're interested in that, we would love to have you on the email list. It's always a lot of fun, and you get to see some interesting products that come through. It's a great thing.
Let me get this donation. I meant to read it, but I was kind of waiting for a few to stack up.
Okay.
But no one else.
Oh, no one else. That's okay.
This is from Brad. $5.
Hey, thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you. Love tuning into the streams every week. Other than Spruce, what were the most common types of beer brewed in this time period?
Well, they would do, straight on typical barley kind of beers. And that's what you see most of the time. They are not doing fancy beers. Now, later on, porters are coming in, and some of these other kinds of beers, specialized beers, but mainly just straight up beer is what's going on in the 18th century. Ryan, you wanted to say something?
I'd heard or read that they were doing porters in England at this time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Were they doing more interesting types other than just porters? Were they experimenting with it over there, and then it just took a little while to come this way?
I think there is some of that going on, and I was just reading in the Davis Journal, 1799, and he's getting porter in North America. Somebody's saying, oh, they got just porter as good as they have over in England, and so that's happening over here too. Spruce beer, though, is one of those. It's kind of a specialty for this, and really even in the time period, it's a bit more like soda pop than it is a beer. So,
Hey, somebody wants to send us a Spruce beer recipe.
Yeah?
What's the best way to do that?
My email. If you send it to ryan.kerr@townsends.us, that's probably the best way to get it here.
that's so complicated.
I got it.
Oh, he's gonna punch
Oh,
it in.
look at Aaron go.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. That's cool. Thanks a lot.
Excited to see it. Just Ryan Docker.
Ryan.kerr.
Okay.
And if his email inbox fills up,
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't-
Don't make me regret this, people.
Okay, so I have somebody who's asking if they order a shirt, can all four of us sign it for them?
All four
it's
of us?
navy blue.
Silver Sharpie?
I've got a silver Sharpie that might work.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my name the biggest.
I'll do mine in Comic Sans.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to do T-shirts, but yeah.
Make sure you put the note when you purchase it so we know who you are. And yes, we'd be happy to sign that. Thank you.
Did they import all the ingredients, or did they grow them themselves to brew beer with?
I'm going to say that they mostly, they're going to be growing all these items here in North America. They did not have as much success growing hops in North America as they had hoped. And that doesn't get to be, say, perfected, or, the right strains of hops come available until a little bit later on. So beer isn't as popular in North America as we might want it to be. I think it's still popular. And they even had fully imported beers coming in the 18th century. So they would ship beer from, say, England or whatever. But hops was one of those kinds of difficult items. They still could do it. It wasn't prolific like it was in Europe. So other than that, I don't have anything good to say. Or let's say informative. There you go.
I'm going to do a donation real quick.
Yeah.
Just because I'll probably forget. There's a lot today. $5 from Blake.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah. Fried chicken brought me here. You inspired me to cook my first open meal on an open fire last week.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So what did he cook?
Yeah, what'd you cook?
Yeah, comment.
Our whole house loves your videos.
Great.
Hashtag put nutmeg on it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's
That's a good
I
hashtag.
see that pop up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of hashtags.
Yeah, we should do Instagram, I
Yeah.
guess. You ready?
Yeah. So
Cool.
are we ready for Instagram?
Yeah.
So,
So this-
every week, we go through the Townsend's hashtag looking for a winner that we can announce here on the live stream. And we look for pictures that have to do with Townsend's merchandise or 18th century cooking or, well, whatever we think is cool and historical, right? With the Townsend's hashtag. So what did we find this week?
This one in particular is from Rosemary Morgan.
Okay.
And she was demonstrating doing laundry at a reenacting event and realized that she didn't bring what she was going to wash, but her skirt was really dirty, so she just ended up washing the clothing that she needed for the event at the event.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a good picture. Thank you,
Great.
Rosemary.
Great. So she must have 2 sets of clothing, right?
I'd assume so.
Okay. And that was
Rosemary.
It says
Morgan.
It says something different on the one you sent me.
What does it say? Yeah, well, no, her
Oh,
that's her handle.
Got it. Okay.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Aaron,
So-
why don't you stick to pushing buttons over
right.
there, and I'll take care of the heavy work.
So thank you so much for participating in this. And Ryan will DM you, connect with you on that, and get you your prize. And I want to thank everyone who participates in that. In the Instagram thing there with the Townsend's hashtag. It's always great to go through the Instagram feed, and I follow that hashtag, so it's always fun to see what pops up in that hashtag. And if you want to participate, hey, use the Townsend's hashtag. You can also use the @Townsend's_official, which goes to the official Instagram account, not my Instagram account, which is different than that one. He's over there shaking his head. But you can check that out, and you can help us out and put up your historical thing, or whether it's maybe your T-shirt or your mug or whatever. Any of those things, we'd love to see them on Instagram. So thank you so much for participating.
All right, we have not had enough questions, so let's do some quick answers.
Okay, quick answers. You want short ones? I can do that.
Let's go.
Okay, John, was your wife interested in historical reenactment when you met her, or did that come along later?
She does. She did participate back in the 90s when we had to go to events a lot, and so she has been to events. She enjoyed those, and sometimes when she has to, she'll go out to events because we have to. But she also has things to do at home. So there you go. Was she specifically interested in history before that? Not specifically.
Was it appropriate to wear a tricorn hat indoors during this period?
When you look at the paintings, you look at the pictures of people in the 18th century, you'll see both of those things going on. You'll see men wearing hats indoors and not. So it wasn't a necessarily a etiquette thing one way or the other.
Did people in the 18th century eat lots of raw milk or meat?
Raw milk, of course. Raw meat, not so much.
How did they cure cracked lips?
Some of that fat wax. I don't.
Rendered raccoon tallow.
Beeswax, I think would probably be the quickest, easiest answer for that. And they had some different kinds of cosmetic-y items that they would use for that sort of thing.
How long did it take for the channel to really take off?
Well, depends on where really takeoff is. I think when we started getting very, very consistent with cooking episodes, it took off one way. And then when we did something like fried chicken, it took off another way. You know, so there's a bunch of little levels where the channel just kind of takes an uptick. And you know, sometimes you just never know why it does it.
I mean, the macaroni and cheese was.
Macaroni and
We
cheese
didn't
was
know
another.
that was going to
right.
go in trending.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Do you script your videos?
In the past, we have scripted videos a lot. So if you look at maybe season 3 or 4, you know, we would have almost everything sort of worked out. But I think it lacks some spontaneity. So generally what I do is I just talk through the video 3 or 4 times to myself the day before I'm shooting videos, and then I just wing it.
Yeah. It's tougher to do them that way, too. It takes like a full day as opposed to
Right.
being able to do multiple.
Wait, which way? It's tougher doing which way?
doing the script
Okay.
and going through each individual shot,
Yeah.
setting up differently.
How do you come up with the ideas for your videos?
Oh, I just randomly open. Really, I'm not lying here. I just randomly open cookbooks and look for interesting things. Other times, I will be looking through a journal and some other reading, and it will drive me to a particular kind of food. So some Peter Kalm will reference eating something particular or some strange thing that he thinks is interesting, and I'll start working with that. Other times, it will be, hey, I'm looking for a couple of different recipes that use this ingredient, right? So recently I've been researching using rice in things. So I looked up some rice episodes. It's several different things that drive me to different places to go.
This question's kind of funny because we were actually talking about it earlier this week. Would colonists on the frontier in the 18th century wear Native American influenced clothing?
Yeah, especially on the frontier, right? And in fact, that's probably the only place where you're going to see that sort of inspired clothing. But long hunters and people that are going back into the deep frontier, if they were going to be interacting with Native Americans a lot and they wanted to interact with them in a, let's call it a friendly way, then they would tend to adapt some of those clothing items to what they were wearing, not only because it was available and it was better for the environment, but because it was better to interact with Native Americans, and because it wasn't as offensive, let's say, in those kinds of settings. And so the long hunters would many times their clothing would wear out and they would adapt to Native American clothing for both because they didn't have European clothing available to them in the frontier and because it worked better. So, yes.
Are there any 18th century kitchen gadgets or habits that you think should come back to modern kitchens?
That one I would have to think about for a bit. I'm sure there's some interesting ones. Well, everyone should use a birch whisk, I think.
And nutmeg.
Yeah.
We don't
Oh,
see
yeah.
nearly enough
Yeah,
nutmeg.
more nutmeg. Probably more of that.
Well, that goes without saying.
Was spruce beer popular with aristocrats, well-to-do people, or was it more common with just people who were considered commoners?
Even Jane Austen talks about spruce beer. So by the time it gets to England in early 19th century, it is the full spectrum of society that is enjoying spruce beer.
What would be the best way of immersing oneself in living history when there are no local communities doing this?
Well, you just have to do it yourself in your own backyard, I guess.
The trekking group is a really great
Oh, yeah.
example of that.
Right. So there are some groups of people that just do it privately within a group of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people. Instead of having to worry about whether there's a site or whether there's a particular large group to reenact with, they get together with just 2 or 3 people and they do it for themselves, for their own enjoyment, for their own edification.
What's your favorite American founding father and why?
It's kind of like a question about what's my favorite recipe or what's my favorite food, and I'd have a hard time choosing it. Everybody has their good points and their bad points, and just when you think, boy, this guy is perfect, and then you find out he did something, and you're thinking, okay, well, I mean, I wouldn't make that kind of decision. So I think they were all amazingly. I think they were a lot smarter than we think. We tend to think, like people in the 18th century are like cavemen and all their clothes were made out of hides and they were primitives. But these were very sophisticated, very smart people in the 18th century. But they had their own motivations and reasons for doing things. So I don't know. I don't really pick one out and say, that guy's the perfect guy.
Let me get some donations real quick before we wrap up. I did the Blake's donation. Here's one. I think it's Canadian dollars. 25 Canadian dollars.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot.
Eben Tower Gaming. Right on.
Yeah, gaming.
Yeah. Looking fantastic. Love the cooking episodes. Have been binge watching them.
We're working on a new way to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, another $5 from Maxer Cruel.
There he is
Right
again.
on.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
that.
much.
Was North America doing distillation brandy or whiskey in the 18th century, or did they import these things?
Oh, they were certainly doing lots of that in North America in the 18th century. So, and I mean, for many different kinds of reasons, but yeah, certainly.
Well, hey, let's talk about this really cool T-shirt again.
Okay, last time we'll talk about the T-shirt real quick. We have the Anatomy of a Soldier T-shirt that is available for pre-order. We don't have them in stock just yet, but we will get them really soon. As soon as we we're going to close the gates on this T-shirt, basically. It's like they're going to be available for, another week maybe, and then, boop, it's done, and off they go. We'll have them printed up and ship them out right away. And we had a lot of fun with this design, coming up with, it's always tough to come up with a T-shirt design, but we've had a couple of different ideas. We thought this one was kind of fun, though. Picture the soldier with all the different items kind of pointed out to it. This one doesn't have a big, giant Townsend's logo on it, which I think is kind of fun. So these T-shirts are navy blue in men's sizes, and boy, there they are.
We haven't really talked about what the cutoff is. We're getting really close to the number that I had in my head. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't know how long they're going to be available. So go
Right.
grab one if you like it.
Yeah, so I don't think they'll probably be on pre-order for more than another 5 or 6 days. Maybe on the next live stream, and then that will undoubtedly be it.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay, well, we've had a great Friday, great live stream, and it's been an intense week. We had a lot of great input and comments from Monday's video about the whole notification thing, and the great music video that came out with the Sons of Liberty and their CD that is available on the website. So, and this great live stream. And we just got a bunch of cooking episodes in the can. We got a great one coming out for Monday.
Yes.
That
Yes.
one will be interesting.
Yes.
So, so we're back into some cooking episodes. We had a lot of fun, a little while ago at Limestone, Tennessee. So lots of projects going on here. And lots of fun, and we're getting so much support. We want to thank you guys all so much for your great comments, all your great support when you do the super chat thing, or you're on Patreon, or you're just sharing our videos. All that is so very, very important. So thank you guys so much for all you do, and thanks for watching.